Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this, the Chatham Challenge Belt official draw live stream with me, your host, Ryan Woodrow. For you, the public, this is a chance to get a first look at the competitors for next weekend's event, held at the Rapture Gaming Festival in Kent, and live streamed right here on the World of Woodrow YouTube channel. For our Roboteers, however, this will be an opportunity to see who they've been drawn against in the group stages and make devilish plans to defeat one another. I am joined by three special guests for today's stream. The first is the event organiser and team captain of Team of Blaze, Gareth Anstey. Next up is one half of Team Spinnerproof, the creator of graphics and our runner at the event, Ryan Bratley. And finally, our technical consultant heading up the Rampage event organiser and one of our judges, Benjamin Hassan. Welcome to the three of you. That was a lot of spiel for me to get through. Hello boys, how are we?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, decent.
I'm great.
Wonderful stuff. Can you imagine we are going to a live event in a week's time? I cannot. It is going to be a lot of fun. It is my first Beetle event. You three have had plenty of experience, so teach a newbie what it's all about. We're going to be talking about three different areas to start with. Each of the people that you see before you has something to say of major importance. So we're going to kick off with a bit of COVID, how we're keeping safe, how we're running things. So Garthy, do you want to run us through a bit of that?
Yeah, so the main thing is, obviously, the lockdown has been extended to the end of next month, so we're now having to run at stage 3 compliant COVID. It means basically, rather than everyone walking around the pits like any normal event, we're going to keep to bubbles. So when you're in the pits, you'll have your own bubble around the pit table. We ask that people stay within that bubble so you can have as many team members as you want within the rule of 6. We then will be moving around to the arena, which will then be a separate bubble. So everyone in the same heat will be in a separate bubble, and we'll be keeping the heat separated. So there's going to be ready tables, 2 different ones, so we can have 2 different heats loading at the same time. Keep everyone separated again, keep everyone apart. The rule of 6 is the main thing that we need to keep aware of. It means that not every member from every team can go up to the arena at the same time. We should be able to manage that. Hopefully people can swap in and out. Once you're at the ready tables, then we're going to, throughout the competition, have each table will be serving this particular heat. So when you're in the heat, your bubble will all be safe together, hopefully. There'll be no mixing. Even though some people from the same households may be in different heats, we're just trying to simplify this so people who come along to the event can see that we're following all the procedures, and there'll hopefully be no problems arising from that. Judges and staff are to remain separated from the competitors at all time. The judges, again, will be in their own bubble, and if you want to contact us, you can then do it through the staff. The main thing as well is that masks must be worn when you're moving around the pits or away from your tables at all time. Just that standard indoor policy with COVID. There'll be an email going out to competitors with a lot more details than this. Just keep it brief so people know that we are trying to do things as safely as possible. And on to now the competition.
Yeah, so how the competition is going to work, I believe that's Ryan going to be talking us through that. So Ryan, why don't you take it away?
So we'll be running a sort of 2-stage tournament with heats happening on Saturday and then a knockout on the Sunday. We split all of the robots into 2 pools, perfectly down the middle. We've got a pool of spinners, a pool of non-spinners. From that, we've randomly drawn 8 heats of 4, each of which contains 2 robots from each pool. Saturday is Heats Day. That will be a round robin. One will face everybody in their heat once. Make sure we can fit all those fights into that Saturday, because that's a lot of fights. We will be running 2-minute fights in the heat stages. A win is going to be worth 1 point, regardless of whether it's a KO or a judge's decision. After those 3 rounds, the top 2 from each heat go through to Sunday's knockout stages. In the event that we do have any ties, the winner of the 2 robots head-to-head will come out on top in that tie. The round of 16 itself, heat winners will all be facing robots which were runners-up in their heats. There's a slight advantage there from being your heat winner. From there, it is a straight knockout all the way to the final. On the Sunday, unfortunately, COVID has put paid to the idea of a gladiator, but we will be making as much space as we can for a lot of whiteboards, especially as we get deeper into that knockout stage. As far as we can, priority for those whiteboards will be going to people who went out in their heats. We want to make sure that you've got some fun on the Sunday as well.
Smashing stuff. Thanks, Ryan. It is going to be a busy couple of days, but for people watching the stream, hopefully it will keep you entertained for a long old time. It might be a bit more work for us, but hey, people want to fight robots, and that's what we're going to provide. And the way that people are going to be able to see when those fights are coming up is through something called Rampage. And Ben is in charge of Rampage, so I'm going to throw over to him because I don't know how it all works, and he's going to tell us all. Hi, Ben.
Cool. Hi, Jevon. Thanks. So Rampage is an online tool that you'll probably be familiar with if you've competed at Battle of the Borough, the Featherweight 2019 Nationals, and mostly SXS 2020. So it was a series of online tools that had a particular page on there called the upcoming fights or call to action screen that was typically displayed on a monitor or projection that allowed you to see when the most recent fight that's taking place and the next couple of fights that are coming up in the very imminently. So we're going to be using Rampage for Rapture. Just obviously it's quite a big space, and obviously there's a lot of competitors. So we've got a monitor where we'll be displaying the upcoming fights / call to action screen for roboteers in the pits area. So you'll be able to have a fair understanding of what obligations you'll need to do, and when you'll be required to get to the ready table. And because of obviously COVID, pandemic, and all that sort of stuff, we've made a slight change where the two most fights that are going to be upcoming shortly, they're going to be underlined. So effectively, if you see your fight or see your robot underlined, it basically means to get yourself and your robot to the ready table. So if you could follow that, that would be great. So there will be URL that will be emailed and texted to all competitors and available then on social media after this stream has ended. So you'll be able to see the fights that will be coming up and get familiar with the page and how it looks. There'll also be on the live stream itself, there'll be a current fight and the next fight on stream. So people following the stream online and also at the event can see what fights are taking place now, what fights are taking place in the future. Additionally, you've got an integration with Discord. So with the Outer Arena Discord server, fights will be posted and their results across a 15-minute interval. So people following the stream, not necessarily following the stream, but want to see status of fights and getting progress updates from that way, can consume Rampage updates on the Lincoln Streams channel on the Outer Arena Discord server.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, as Ben said, we will have current fight on when the fight is playing on screen on the day. We will have next fight up when I'm talking to you on camera, and we will also check in on Rampage all the way through the event for seeing what the next 5 fights are. So everybody who is watching on stream can see also what's going on, which is very cool. It's been a lot of work, but we've managed to get it working, and I think we're quite happy with it, aren't we, Ben?
I'm really happy with it. I did some testing this morning and this afternoon, and it's pretty much complete. I'm really happy with it, so it should be a really smooth experience. Obviously, if you have any questions with regards to your fight, just send me a message on Facebook or anything like that, and I should be able to help you during the day. Obviously, COVID permitting and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, if you need any assistance or can't easily get information about your fights, either speak to Ryan or myself, and we should be able to liaise and get an answer to you on the day.
Yeah. Right. I think everybody has waited long enough that we are going to run through the heats, and we are going to talk about some robots and introduce them for the audience of people who don't know what robots are. So without further ado, what I will just say is that the level of competition is high for this event. There are lots of very good competitors, and there has been many questions about a heat of death. What I will say is most of the heats are scary in some way. So I think that's a fair statement, isn't it?
Yeah,
Some are scarier than others, but
Yeah.
scary.
We're going to kick things off, and it's worth noting that all of these are randomly generated. We did not say, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we put these people with these people. These are all randomly generated. We had no say in how they came out. Let's kick off with Heat A, shall we? Heat A will feature the Honey Badger, Let the Good Times Roll, Super Snappy, and K2. Let's start with the Honey Badger. What do we know about this robot?
we know is it's a front hinge, and front hinges are the best.
I couldn't agree more, though I am horribly biased towards this. They list their strength as speed, their weakness as thin armour, which, you know, could see them in a spot of bother in this heat, but you never know. They might withhold some hits. They are a lovely wedge, which is very good against some spins. Yeah.
The thing for me with Honey Badger is, from Team K, and a lot of the robots, they work. So in such a strong heat, we're going to be looking at through everyone else in the heat as well. It's going to be a robot that works. It's going to be a robot that goes the distance. As such, if anyone's not on their A game, I can see it very easily getting a win here or there.
I'm just chuckling about the live chat going on at the minute. Craig is especially happy with Super Snappy to be in this heat, with his robust, angry face. The weakness being Craig Croucher, an interesting choice. I would have thought that's a massive strength, but there we are.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Craig is a massive strength. He's someone who's finished in the semi-finals in multiple competitions with multiple robots. Again, It's a very, very strong entry.
Can I also say, I'm really happy to see Super Snappy back after, I think there was some talk that Super Snappy may be done now and Craig was going to move on to other things, but lo and behold, it's back here again, and yeah, I'm excited to see some Super Snappy action, surely. It's just going to be
It's a robot that's definitely on form.
Yeah.
I think that the SXS outing, I hate you guys for calling it that, it's so hard, absolutely showed the potential this robot and this roboteer have. Super excited to see it go up against some very stiff competition here.
You spoke about SXS. The champion of that event is in Heat A. Let the good times roll. It's a very formidable drum spinner that I think warmed up is the way I would say for SXS. They started with a loss, as I believe, but then went on to win the whole thing. So it just goes to show that, you know, no machine is safe, if you want to steal a phrase from another robot combat program.
Yeah, Ryan was involved in his last loss, wasn't he?
Involved is a strong term. I consider myself the expert in facing Let the Good Times Roll. I think it's been 3 times now, and that was the only time it didn't hurt a lot.
Yeah.
This robot has nearly put us out of a competition just in terms of trying to get repairs done. It's big pain. Very big pain.
Yeah, and it's not alone in being big pain, as the 2-time Bugglebots champions K2 also feature here. I mean, that's just one of their many titles that they have taken away from events. It's a household name in the Beetle weight scene, and everybody should be aware of it, I think, is the way to say that.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to definitely be an interesting lineup with Let the Good Times Roll and K2. Obviously, when they fight, that should be a very interesting clash.
Sparks gonna
looking
fly.
forward. I'm looking forward to that one, to be honest.
It's going to be such fun. I'm really excited for Heat A. I'm excited for all of them. But yeah, this one has potential to be quite the heat. We'll move on to Heat B. And in Heat B, there will be Maximum Ogre Drive, Scavenger, Cool Speedbot Echo, and F.7. 2 saws, double saw in this heat. A saw subject for the other 2 robots. Well, hey, that's another one on the spreadsheet, David. Yeah, these are some lovely looking robots, especially Scavenger, who I want to go to first because my eye is immediately drawn to it. Built by Mr. Jamie McCarg. It's a cross between Dead Metal and Shunt. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty.
So, nice little bit of trivia, actually, is that Facebook wanted to use Scavenger for one of their advertising campaigns. So it just shows how good a robot it is, getting attention from outside, even the community.
I mean, he has listed one of his strengths as looks awesome, and I thought, is that big-headed? No, it's not. It's just true. It is just true. I cannot get over how cool this robot is, and it's a 4-bar saw as well. It's not your usual just drop down. It comes forward like Dead Metal saw. Oh man, I love it so much.
If you think it looks good in a still, until you see it move,
Yeah,
that's when it looks at its absolute best.
It is something very special. We should also talk about Maximum Ogre Drive here if we're talking saws. It is again, a household name in the beetle weight scene as, oh my god, my top armor, my poor top armor. And then what's underneath your top armor, because usually that's been attacked as well with maximum overdrive in the arena. It has been unlucky, I think, in some tournaments. Started to show a return to form at SXS. Guys, I'll throw it to you. Talk to me about maximum overdrive. I could listen to it all day.
Interesting to see how this competition will go for it, because stage fright in front of the cameras at Bogglebots, very solid in other live events that weren't broadcast. Will the World of Woodrow YouTube channel be the downfall of maximum overdrive?
I blur the line between what is TV and what is not.
Have to see how the robot responds.
Yeah.
It's like the cameras sometimes.
You know, I can fully understand that. You know, I get a bit stage fright.
For me as well, maximum overdrive versus F.7, I just genuinely want to see that for the sparks to fly and to see how well maximum overdrive can really go through armor. I think that's going to be probably one of the best.
That's going to be an amazing driving battle as well. I mean, both of these two drivers are renowned for their driving. F.7 is, of course, Team Tilly Shane Lale, who drove Iron Ore 6 all the way to the last UK Heavyweight Championship. And F7, his middleweight, which this is based on, was middleweight champion. He is a superb driver, and it's going to be an interesting battle, that one, for sure. Seeing as we're talking about F.7, we'll discuss it a bit more again. Front hinge, mwah, chef's kiss, can't go wrong. It's fast and it's low. It has slightly exposed wheels. I think in a world of weaknesses, that is low on the pecking order of things to be worried about. Although, overhead source.
It did very well in the Robo Dojo lockdown events last season. I actually personally, I think this is my dark horse for the heat. Even though Maximum Overdrive is such a great robot, I think F.7 might do the heat, whereas Maximum Overdrive might do the championship. It's really, that of all the non-spinners, I do think this is one of the best potentials.
Wedge is dominant. And speaking of, our straight up wedge, I think is one of very few that doesn't have other things, you know, to talk about. This is straight up, your fist, my face, CSB Echo, brought to us by Team Coolspeed Bot, of course. It is a Rambot with a Hardox wedge. You know, this thing could do very well against the spin. How will it do against the saws, I wonder?
I think the main thing to say about this is newcomer bot. It's something we want to see. It's a great looking design. Honestly, it does look like a tried and tested machine. It's very well built. It can certainly, with some other competitors, it can certainly win a lot of fights. Saws are going to be a good question, but as we said, we did a random heat. We wouldn't have chosen all the saws together in the heat like this if we could, but
that's the way it's gone for this one. Anything more to say about Heat B either, or any of you?
Just want to echo, you know,
Hey.
CSB Echo. I lost myself there for a second. I realised there was a pun potential that I'd missed. Been following this build with great interest. I think most of the way through lockdown, I think it's been quite a long-term build, and it's so clean. It looks so good, and this is the worst possible draw. It's clearly designed to take on big spinny things. We don't know what to expect from it. I'd love to see a little dark horse run here.
Yeah, absolutely. We shall move on then to Heat C, and I think this is another one that I'm very excited for. A little bit deathy as well. We have Sprocket Raccoon, Rev 4, Night Fury, and Tosser. Now, a lot of these machines have faced off before. I'm very excited for this one. I think this is the heat I'm most excited for. Not only because it features the loudest beetle weight that we will see at the event in Night Fury, but also the return of Tosser, which is just wonderful. And we're going to be jumping about of referring to it either as Tosser or Tosser 2 Double Flipperoo, which is its full name, I believe. Let's start with Night Fury, because it's the loudest and the one that you're going to hear most. I'll be surprised if on the day you'll be able to hear me commentating over the top of Night Fury, because we'll be sat quite close to the arena and Night Fury will be in that arena. So I'm very excited to see it fight. It's a gorgeous looking robot and it's just so good.
Yeah, Night Fury's amazing. I just love the design. I love the efficiency of it. It did really well at the Battle of the Borough event, and I've got quite high hopes for Night Fury myself, to be honest. I think it's got a very good chance of getting 3 wins in the first rounders.
Yeah, it's just it's a unique shape. It's very nicely designed. Of course, Team Grithic have been on other teams in the past, including Team Concussion. Which is, I believe, where they started out in robot combat, and yeah, it's just such a step, isn't it? This thing.
I think the thing for me as well is I love the theming. I know a few people who like the How to Train Your Dragon movies, and the theming with the tail and the name. Obviously, I love it, and then obviously the sound that goes with it. I think that's the thing that everyone remembers, but it does actually pack a punch. No, what's the phrase? The bark is worse than its bite. This one does have the bite to go with the bark.
Oh yes.
You know,
there's a wonderful shot in the trailer / intro for this. It's the last shot you'll see. Is a wonderful shot of Snappy going flying across the arena, nearly getting ooted, and it's Night Fury that's just done that and gone flying itself across and nearly into the pit, but surviving. And that fight carries on. It's it's a great fight. Next we'll go over to Tosser, because this is all brushless all of the time. So much brushless, in fact, that they didn't have enough weight for armour. It's just cool. I love Tosser. It flips things, and in Beetle weight, that's a difficult thing to do, especially to the capabilities of Tosser. And when Tosser threw Night Fury across the arena, I don't think many people expected it.
I mean, Tosser is genuinely better than you could probably make a pneumatic robot at this scale. It was an amazing flipper to see it the first time round, and it looks like independent flipping arms this time. It is certainly going to be interesting. Yeah. The downside is it has drawn 2 horizontal spinners.
Yeah, and with limited armor, that might be tricky for them. If any robot can escape them, though, this is the one to do it. It is fast and it is incredibly well controlled. For its speed. It is mind-boggling how he manages to keep up with it. I'm very excited to see Tosser in action once again. I
think get through the heats, definitely on for a championship, I'd say, because it's such a unique robot, it's such a powerful robot, and if it's anything improved on the last one, there's some serious potential behind it.
Indeed.
So let's not forget that last time out, SXS, this was, the sister robot or the brother robot, Gear Down for What, which came second.
Yeah.
Did that mostly through drive power alone, the same drive power that we see in Tosser.
Yeah. I think even more speed now. I think it's even bigger on the brushless, which is... Oh boy. I can't wait to see it in action. It is going to be truly phenomenal, and anybody who's up against it is up for a incredibly tough driving battle. Now, we should discuss a robot that has been the only robot to manage to levitate around a pit, in Rev 4, who are bringing what looks to be a new spinner to the table this time round on their robot. Rev 4 is a danger when it is... Oh, just at any time, in fact. Even when it's off kilter, it's dangerous to go near.
Danger to itself, a danger to the floor, a danger to the other robots.
Yeah, the pit.
A danger to my hearing as well. I think if there are 2 robots that make me take earplugs to an event, it is Rev 4 and Night Fury.
And they're going to be in the arena together, which is just going to be wonderful. It's... I love it. I love it so much. It is going to be just so awesome to see. And I think there was... I mean, they ended up in the pit last time after hovering around it for so long. Perhaps this time they'll just hover out. They're only out if they touch the bottom of the pit, right?
Yeah.
Let's not get down into the weeds of pit rules right now. That's for another day.
I suppose we should then move on to Sprocket Raccoon, who is back after their debut at SXS. I believe fully rebuilt after that event. Mr. Mark Smith is back with this robot. It is a 2-stage, 2-part lifter. It can lift up at the front, and then it can flip you forwards, kind of front hinge style, top hinge. I don't know how to describe it. 2-part flipper. We had a long debate over what to call this, and this seemed like the best option. It's a good wedge in a competition and in a heat that features 2 quite chonky horizontals. It could do reasonably well. I imagine the fox face is getting all kinds of scratched up. A raccoon face even. It's not a fox face, it says raccoon in the name. This is the sort of level of mistake you can expect from the live stream next week.
The thing for me with the raccoon is that looking at that wedge, that does look like a very good wedge for deflecting off horizontals, which it's going to need in this heat. It could get some good surprising results. Just keep the drive up. It says it's reliable. It says it's fast. Hopefully, you can get someone into the pits and play golf with Rev 4.
Yeah, I know for a fact that Mark is bringing a variety of setups to this event. He has plans for everything, even plans for his plans, and yeah, if you need attachments, he's the man to go and see, because he has them, basically. He's got drum attachments, he's got horizontal attachments, he's got everything. He's thought about everything, and we'll see if that does him any favours, or if it'll be one setup too many.
Other thing he's got is a few hours of really good quality practice under his belt. We know that Rocket Raccoon and his other robot Snowdrop have both had some opportunities during lockdown to have a few sort of for fun battles outside against some other non-spinners.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to underestimate the power of that, just the experience and the time spent with the robot.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something that the spinners can't do because there's very few safe places to test them. So, you know, in battle, Sprocket Raccoon, out of the 3 of these, is probably the most tested. We shall have to wait and see how that goes. I'm very excited for Heat C. And now we're going to move on to Heat D, because I feel like we've spoken about Heat C for ages now. In Heat D, we have the wonderful Pain Per View, Igor, Toxin, and the Frenchiest Fries. We'll start with Pain Per View. You may be wondering, is that just a normal undercutter? No, it's not just a normal undercutter. What is it made out of, you may ask? Well, I think it might be an old Virgin box. It is a wonderful recycled robot that looks decent and could be very competitive.
I think every robot he builds is just a work of art, and this is just, it looks the part as well. It looks genuinely, you could conceive someone that's a purpose-built robot, and I just love it for that fact. I really want to see this do well.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm upset that Dreadwin isn't here, but Pain Per View is wonderful. I love the strength and weakness as well, as wide range of TV channels, but unpaid license fee. Ooh, that could see you with issues. I mean, especially if Sky are at the event, which they are. It's gonna be a fun robot to see in action.
Once again, it's that Team Bot Chef blend of weird and wonderful.
Yeah.
And I've got absolutely no doubt that it could do very, very well.
Absolutely. We'll move on to Toxin, which is just a beautiful vertical spinner. In a time where vertical spinners are looking more and more like each other, Toxin comes along at the Beetle weight scale at least and says, this is how I'm going to do it. It is, of course, Team Nebula, Mr. Jack Tweedy himself, bringing this beautiful Drisk for our American viewers. That is a Drisk. 2 discs. Drisk. Yeah, there you go. And I love Toxin. It's just such a beautifully designed robot. It's one of those robots that you look at the CAD and go, okay, is it going to look like this when it's done? Oh, yes, it is going to look like this when it's done. It is gorgeous and effective.
Toxin looks like a very much updated Tempest 2, and obviously this is the Challenge Belt. The Challenge Belt Tempest 2 has won that before, and again this does look like a design that just really modernises that, and could win it again.
Very interested to see what different configurations Tweedy's bringing for this. He's boasting about them, but we haven't really seen or heard much about what they are.
Maybe it's just different levels of Jack Tweedy.
You got to have maximum Tweedy all of the time.
Yeah. It's just these Virgin box coming towards you. Right, Max Tweedy, here we go.
It does look like a really powerful disc as well. You can certainly see it cutting something in half.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are in halves, a clusterbot, the Frenchiest fries. Team Hop are bringing this wonderful clusterbot that look incredibly like their antweights Yeetus and Retreatus Yeman Chad, which was just a very effective antweight, as I believe. Did they win an event? I don't keep up with the antweight scene as much as I should.
Yeah, they won the AWS 59 event, I believe, and they did it quite well. So, you know,
this should not be slept on then. The Frenchiest fries.
very good driving from the team. Driving seems to be a really good strength. No, like the guys are really good. They know how to get their, fight their opponents. They're one to watch, I think, definitely. They might not be destructive, obviously, being wedges, but they've got the driving experience behind them. They're very calculated. I think, yeah, they're one of the ones to watch, I think, for this heat.
Yeah, it's especially noteworthy that these two look like they can run effectively upside down. I think they can be wedges either way up. And, the benefit of having a cluster is that if one is in danger, the other can be busy, getting underneath the other robot or rescuing or whatever. There are so many benefits to having a cluster in Beetle weight scale, especially because they are really quite good. And they are, of course, powered by Trash Pandas, which is just wonderful. Lastly, in this heat, we have Igor returning from their debut at SXS as well. They have some lifting forks at the front, 4-wheel drive, fast, invertible, able to push. We saw it at SXS that they were quite good, genuinely very good. Of course, built by JL Games himself, another fellow YouTuber. My hat doth come off for you. This is a lovely looking robot and an effective robot.
Yeah, for sure. So, like in the SSX Gladiator, it was one of the few robots remaining, and I was actually quite worried at one point. It nearly had Polly, and at that point I was determined. In my mind, that's it. Polly's done for, and Igor's going to win it. So, again, Igor is a very well driven bot. It has a very good purchase when it lifts up robots. So that's another thing to watch out for. Is its front lifting forks. They're very, very effective.
And of course, it has the power of googly eyes, which, as we all know, is just going to see it go far, surely.
I think with this heat, this is the heat I'm least sure about. I think all four have a chance to go through, and I just honestly I want each of them to go through as well, because they all bring something really good and unique to the table.
Absolutely. We are halfway through the heats, and we shall move on now to Heat E. And it features Attitude Adjuster, Revolution, and now Shark, please, Morgan, how do you pronounce your robot's name? And Volta. Hopefully Morgan's watching and he'll get us an answer, because I want to get this right on the day. I want to start with it because it is a very unique looking robot. It is double drums, one front, one back, and a 360 degree lifter, or I'm assuming 360 degree, either that or it's just got a lifter on it. It looks like it's a 360 degree lifter. Multiple methods of attack is an understatement. This is all of the methods of attack, I'm pretty sure. The only way they could have had any more attack is more weapons on the top. But there's not the weight for that. This is very far away from what Morgan has built before.
And it's 4-wheel drive.
Yeah. How have you managed it?
It's got everything. I mean, the weigh-in's going to be fun for that. That's probably going to be the interesting part.
Yeah. I'm very excited.
I'm going to go
see
ahead and assume that Morgan has weighed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see this in action, because I think even if the spinners go down, you've got the lifter there. And if the lifter goes down, you've got the spinners. Or if it all goes wrong, you've got a decent wedge. I mean, surely
Even
this
if-
is doing well.
Even if one of the spinners goes down, you just turn it around.
Yep. It's a very interesting robot, and one that you know, it's one of those things where you look at it and say, I'm surprised that nobody has thought of this yet. I mean, people have done weapons front and back. Nobody's done a weapon in the middle that can also be at the front or the back.
I reckon people have thought of it. They just haven't decided to do it. That's the big step here.
Now, is that because it's not a good idea, or is it because they thought it was too difficult?
I honestly think
there has been a conventional wisdom that multiple weapons doesn't necessarily work, but that's been challenged more and more over the last few years, particularly on the heavyweight scene. Morgan is someone who loves to build weird and awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Seen a real glass cannon from him in Sujin, and this maybe is a little more of a move almost towards the middle sensible ground.
How dare you?
Super
Sensible.
excited to see what it can do.
to give the best compliment I can to Morgan is that I think a lot of people have thought to do this, but very few have actually thought how it could actually be done. And for it to actually be done is going to be the most interesting thing.
Yeah.
For me. Actually see it working and to see its potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose robots that have multiple methods of attack is a perfect segue to Attitude Adjuster, because this looks very different to how it used to. Attitude Adjuster used to be a straight up hammer robot. It is now a hammer and a hammer saw. They have two different configurations. Hammer saws beetle weight scale, there's not many of them. I believe that there is one coming from a certain saw loser.
So that's Mr. Mordew.
Yes, which looks terrifying. And part of me is quite glad that it's not signed up for this one, because there would definitely be a lot of clearing up to do after each fight. But Attitude Adjuster is bringing the hammer saw, and oh boy, this thing looks cool.
So remember when I said that we had 2 spinners and 2 non-spinners in every heat? Yeah, sorry about that. When we were making those groups, this was a hammer.
Yep.
And then suddenly hammer saw.
Yeah.
That said, I love that he's developed it. At the time, he thought
yeah.
he wouldn't be able to finish it off in time, and the fact that he actually has, I honestly love it. It looks beautiful. It looks potential as well.
Yeah.
Like, that is potent.
There are 3 different styles of wedge on the front of that robot. And I don't know if they're all going to be on at once, or if they are demonstrating the 3 different types of defense that he will have, or what. But if it is all 3, it's an interesting idea, because if you don't get under one of them, there's 2 more backup wedges that you might get under. It's going to be a fun robot to see in action. I'm very excited for Attitude Adjuster, because it does look very cool indeed.
Let's not forget, even in hammer mode, this is a hugely entertaining robot. It's a robot that we as a team have basically been trying to emulate, or will be trying to emulate, of when we get back together to build. It is, for me, a blueprint of what a great beetle weight hammer looks like.
If I remember correctly, when we was doing selections, this is one of the first robots we selected, just based on, like, hammer, yep, in.
Yeah, I don't think there are many, and I think this was the only one? Yeah. Easy selection, that one. Next up, Garfi, I think you might have something interesting to say about this next robot. It is, of course... No, Revolution, of course, which is a vertical spinner. It's controllable. This version is untested, but boy howdy is the robot not untested. Of course, Garfi, this is yours.
Yeah, so it's an upgrade from RPM. RPM is one of the oldest beetle weights in the UK. As such, it was really time for an upgrade. It is very wide. It's huge, and hopefully it won't gyro at all, just like the old RPMs. They'll be able to run it at full power all the time, hit things as hard as possible, just whack into whatever's in front of it. Yeah, I haven't really been able to test it. Obviously, being a spinner, we only completed it this year, so it's certainly going to be a fun few days just to see how it goes. And it's also replacing Inertia, who fell out, which actually uses the old RPM disc now. So
it was only fair to replace like for like. So
yeah.
we, unfortunately, as is the way with the world at the minute and with competitions, we've had a few dropouts. And Garfi has been a reserve with Revolution for all of them, to the point where we said, look, it's only fair that you now get to go into the competition.
I think when we done selections, the competition was such a high standard, I immediately said, you know what, I'm just going to be a reserve. No, I want to get as many people in here as possible. I just immediately reserved myself. And whilst it's sad, obviously some people have had to pull out for the various reasons. I think it just shows how high a standard the competition is that I would just happily not compete.
Yeah.
You know.
The final robot to talk about is Volta, which is seeing a return for the first time in quite a few years. I believe it last competed either at 2017 or 2018 Euros, when it was made out of all recycled materials. I think it was an old barbecue or something like that. Of course, built by Mr. Jimmy Cottam of Team OTT, and he has been doing regular build updates as to the progress of this robot over on his YouTube channel, which is titled Jimmy Cottam. So if you want to go and see how he has built this, do go over there, because, you know, if you want to get into beetle weight building, no better way than to see how other people have done it. Talk about it. It has a 10mm thick HDPE frame, which is very chunky and very well armoured for a robot of this nature. It is a flipper in a field of, you know, there aren't many flippers like it. It is untested in battle, but it does look decent from the video evidence that we have seen.
This is the kind of build that I am always so happy to see. It's a workbench, a jigsaw, drill, and a lot of hours.
Yeah.
I think we've been quite lucky to see firsthand and through the series just all the problem solving that's gone into this build, which for me is what I'm in this sport for. I would absolutely love to see all of that rewarded with some really good performances.
Yeah. It is going to be a difficult heat for Jimmy. But, you know, once again, Wedge does well against Spinner, so we shall have to wait and see how well they get on in this heat. Fingers crossed for them. I'm very excited. We will move on to Heat F, and this time I have the invested interest in this heat because my robot is in it. So we have Dooya, Exhilarator, Metis, and Seventh Circle, and if you don't mind, I'm going to be talking about my robot first. Dooya is a front hinge flipper, which, again, chef's kiss, moi. I love front hinges and have wanted to build one for a long time. This has come together very quickly. I started off as just the person who was going to be running the stream. I then said, well, if I'm going to a beetle weight event, I might as well build something to bring along as a reserve. I then filled the space of somebody in the main competition, and now here I am with a robot, and I can't quite believe that fact. It's not quite done yet. I need to wire it all up, but it'll be done for the weekend. So yeah, very excited. This has been a collaborative effort from a lot of people. A lot of people have helped me out. So Ryan has CNC'd all of the plastic for me. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thought I'd get that one in there. My dad has managed to take some 3mm mild steel and shape it beautifully. I made some horribly difficult shapes out of cardboard and said, can you make that? And he has done a superb job of cutting it all by hand. None of it is laser cut. Again, workbench build. And of course the wonderful BBB drive kit that is going to be going in there as well. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And if I get a single win, I'm happy.
I think it also has to be said, it's got the best goatee in the competition, hasn't it?
It also has...
Oh no, I can't unsee that now. Oh.
It's not always going to be on there. I don't know about goatee. Whenever I look at it now, I see dog with its tongue sticking out. Which is horrible because I didn't want to see that. But the driver of it is David Harrison of Lego Wars fame, and he has been driving very well at Lego Wars recently, so fingers crossed this should go very well. It's a bit of a difference between driving a Lego robot and driving a beetle weight, I've been told. We shall see.
I was hoping he was going to say David Harrison of Smeg there.
Yeah, that. David will do it. We'll do something. If we get a win, I'm fine. I'm happy. If we don't, I'm still happy. We'll do it. It'll be fine. We should next probably talk about the other front hinge in the heat, which is Metis, built by Team Transcendent Robotics, Rara of ESC fame, and all of the other wonderful things that Rara does. Has brought us a little Cassius, which is just wonderful. Chef's kiss for the front hinge. of course. It has a little mini-bot, which I'm reliably informed is named the Mandalorian. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, good. Oh, thank God. I thought I got it wrong. Strength, right way up Meta's face. Weakness, upside down Meta's face. Easy.
And Rare has been working really hard on this over the last few weeks. There's a lot of newcomers in this heat. I think going to come on to 7th Circle obviously in a minute, but everyone here is a newcomer. So not much you can say, but honestly, I'm just good to see them there, and let's hope they actually can all go for one of those 2 spots.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned 7th
But I'm
Circle.
assuming, Garth, when you say that, you mean newcomers as in new builds, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, new builds. What's the term? Yeah, so I say new builds. You got new Accelerator. He's made 2 robots so far actually. So, but he hasn't had any events because he started last year when COVID, so there hasn't been any events to go to. Jevon again, he's not a newcomer in the sense that he has got his own heavyweight. Has been to a lot of events obviously, but it's a new beetle weight. And Metis is just such a different style of robot to anything that Rare has really competed with before. That again, it's just a completely new thing to see.
Yeah, I think it's again, Wedge does well against Spin. Sometimes, most of the time. Fingers crossed. You've mentioned 7th Circle. We'll talk about 7th Circle next. Brought to us from Team Hell, Mr. David Weston, who is by no means a first-time competitor. He has had hands in many pies and cakes, or whatever that phrase is, and he builds mean machines, and this is no exception. It's the one that I am most worried about in this heat. 7th Circle is a vertical spinner, and quite a good-looking one at that.
One of the Titans, David Weston. Salt of the Earth. Will also be involved in running the arena this weekend. It's his arena.
Yep.
And this thing looks vicious.
Yeah. I'm genuinely quite nervous to fight 7th Circle. I've been looking at ways that I can possibly get under it, or I don't know. I think that might be wishful thinking. I expect to go
7th
flying.
Circle. 7th Circle is always one of those robots I really think should be going further in the competition. It is a really good build. It's really destructive. It's really low. The little forks as well, really good at feeding people into the spinner, so it's really hard to get around. And David's such a good driver anyway that again it's just so hard to get around.
Yeah. Nervous. The final one is going to be sort of a home from home for our American viewers, because it kind of resembles what is the US meta at the minute. It is Exhilarator, and it is an egg beater with 2 wheels and some little forks at the front to get underneath other competitors. We know these kits hit with a punch, but I don't think this one is a kit. This is a home-built one that looks like one of the kits, and that scares me because it means that there's going to be more power in it than, you know, what the kits put out. And from watching Norwalk a lot, yikes.
It's always deceiving. Like K2 again is a completely new build, a unique build, but with the beta bars that they have, they do end up looking a bit similar. But yeah, hopefully it does hit as hard as any of the other beta bars out there, and again could be as good as K2 potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I'm worried.
What's interesting me in this heat is that we've got Exhilarator as an invertible vertical spinner against 3 robots that I believe currently have a bit of a question mark in terms of their self-righting ability.
Yeah. I mean, mine's a question mark because I haven't tested it yet. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting heat, and things will fly, and things may not get up after they've flown. So it's going to be a tough one for sure. We shall move on then to Heat G, penultimate heat, which features the Revengers, Bourbon, Crossblow 2, and Drizzle. And it's Drizzle I want to start with because boy howdy do he be chonk this time round.
I honestly don't know
This
what to
new
add to
diff
Drizzle.
is... Oh,
It just gets better and better.
It's so well polished.
Yeah.
The front armour is just perfect. The weapon is thick and chunky and it's got a proper tooth on it and it looks like a heavyweight and it scares me.
Drizzle is just turned up to 110. It's like, if anyone knows anything about the UK beetleweight scene, they should know about Drizzle.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to like describe about how good this robot is, because you just go and see it. That spinner is massive, and the weakness, inherent instability. I think that's the only thing that ever holds it down. Sometimes it gets stuck, it goes flying everywhere. But
I mean,
it's such a good thing to watch.
To drizzle is a verb in robot combat terms, as to yeet oneself across the arena with maximum force. We've seen it many, many times before, and the scariest time was when we learned that it could get back up from that. Oh god, this thing hits hard, and it's going to be a tough one to beat in this heat, I think.
Yeah,
Very
for sure.
interested to see how it hits, because when I've faced it before, I mean, I have next to me a piece of 20mm HDPE with a 12 or 13mm gash in it that Drizzle created. I'm interested to see what the sort of wider disc, I think this is wider than it's previously been, will change the dynamics of how it hits quite a lot. It might be more of a sort of yeet than a cut. I'm excited to see exactly how this thing is interacting with other robots now.
Yeah, somebody who has been on the receiving end of Drizzle, unfortunately, is Crossblow 2. Crossblow at SXS was a struggling boy, but no more so after they fought Drizzle, because god damn it, that thing hits hard. There is actually a clip in the trailer and the intro for this event of Drizzle and Crossblow colliding and flying apart, and yeah, Crossblow knows what it feels like to be hit by Drizzle, and that's why there's a new version. Crossblow 2 is a 4-bar lifter. It has durability and persistence, but its weakness is Drizzle. It's got a lance on the front now. It's also been battle testing during lockdown, which could again prove it to be quite the competitor in this heat.
I think the durability, the strength there, that is the thing that really comes to my mind with Crossblow. It is a robot that will be there at the end of the fight, and it's just that potential means that actually against Drizzle, potentially that's all you need. If you can survive Drizzle, that might be all that you need.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the front of it is designed to take on the horizontal hits. It is sturdy, it is thick, it's incredibly well designed and well built. It's another very clean looking robot.
It's worth remembering that in that encounter with Drizzle, Crossblow was still running after all of that punishment. It just happened to be stranded on another robot. I feel like they could have gone all day.
Yeah.
it's very much the Captain America of robot combat to an extent, isn't it?
He gets knocked down, but he gets up again. You ain't never going to keep him down. What you got to do is put him up on top of another robot. That's how you beat it.
And it's all 1v1s then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you say that, but what about the Avengers?
Well, there is that.
Oh, good point.
This
Very
is
good point.
a cluster bot. One part block, one part big horizontal. This is a strange looking robot, but could potentially be very fearsome.
Yeah, that brick does look brickiest of bricks, which against Drizzle is going to be a massive advantage, I think. The spinner, definitely going to be interesting to see at least.
It looks like it can run either way up, so long as those wheels stay on. And there's very little of it to hit. That is something I will say. It reminds me of Kingpin from BattleBots, but like better. In that it is almost all spinner. I mean, I'm pretty sure whatever angle of attack you have, if the spinner's going, you're going to get hit by it.
Yeah, it's not going to be a robot you're going to get round, is it? And hopefully that Wedgebot can actually just feed people in directly into the spinner.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the Revengers. This is one of the robots that I have only seen first today. It's going to be an interesting robot to see in action. I'm excited to see it because I think it may well be quite, explosive. Not that it will fly apart, but that it will be flying all around the arena with its spinner going, and in a heat with Drizzle and Bourbon, you know, it could be very dangerous. It could hit a vital spot, either on purpose, by accident, who knows. It is untested, and we will have to wait and see how well it does. The final competitor is Bourbon. This is a robot that people should know. It is not the first hexagonal drum spinner, but is one of very few. It is a powerful weapon, 4-wheel drive, drum spinner, very good indeed. Its weakness is being upside down, but Ryan, you have experience in beating this machine.
Yeah, but I don't really want to talk about it because he didn't deserve that. And all I want from the event is to see Bourbon do well.
Yeah.
The design I love. It's a Roboteer I love. Just everything about it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And things just happen to it. Things happen around it almost. There's some mysterious energy. Seems to just sap its luck at most events. And if this time could be different, I'd be a very happy man.
Bourbon is one of the oldest competitors as well. I was saying about RPM being one of the oldest in the UK. Bourbon's nearly as old, and it's done consistently well throughout the years. It may have had a few tough events recently, but honestly, those are just a blip compared to how well it used to do. And I genuinely think with the modifications that Rob keeps making to it, it genuinely could do it again. I can certainly see it getting through this heat at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got a good chance of doing well, obviously, bearing in mind it doesn't go upside down. And yeah, Bourbon's again is one to watch for sure. Just hope it doesn't go upside down, or ghostly interactions interfere with Bourbon.
Arena poltergeist, say.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a robot that people should be aware of, and don't sleep on it. Just because it's been unlucky before, might mean that its luck's going to change. This is another heat where I genuinely don't know which way it's going to go. Again, any of these robots could take it, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all fares, how it all plays out on the day. We move
One
on.
of those things.
Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, with Drizzle, like, it's one of those where it's the hardest hitting, but it could very easily be unlucky.
Mm-hmm.
And cross blows, maybe not the hardest hitting, but it's just so reliable.
And again, it's another one that's been unlucky in the past.
Yeah. There's a lot of robots with something to prove in this heat, I think.
So
Please don't use the forks, Bourbon. Please don't use the forks anymore. They make me sad.
take the Witch Doctor approach and just hit it with your spinner and nothing else. It's the way to do it, I'm sure.
For the last heat.
The last heat, Heat H, and those that have signed up and know that they're in will have deduced who they're against, probably. We have Paradigm Spin, Grab Crab, Rust in Pieces, and Slav King. We're going to start with Grab Crab here, and it's a very different Grab Crab to the one we've seen previously. Joe has been working on major improvements across the board. It's a whole new robot. It's a different design. It's very cool looking. 4-wheel drive now, 4 very chunky wheels, and quite the reliable lifter by the looks of things.
Different robot, same energy. Just look at those eyes. If you're trying to tell me you can look in those eyes and not fall in love, then you are a liar.
Yeah, some people, if they do try and beat this thing, are going to have some explaining to do afterwards, for sure. I really love this new look Grab Crab. It is very cool. It's the sort of design that I think is very BattleBotsy, which is no bad thing. It is just awesome. I love it so much.
I'm thinking as well, if it can get a good purchase on some of the robots, it's potentially got the capability to do some really good ooters.
Definitely.
I just want to see it do a suplex.
Yeah, me too. If it does a suplex, I might applaud it. In fact, I probably will applaud it. And, you know, in an arena where there's 2 ways of going out, pit and Ooter Zone, Grab Crab being a control bot could be the perfect foil to some of these other robots in the heat. One of which is a very nice looking shell spinner, a design that we don't see very often in Beetle weight scale. It is Paradigm Spin, also built by Team Cyberwar. It is, correct me if I'm wrong, an 8-wheel drive robot with a spinning shell on the top. It is very gigabyte, megabyte-esque, as are most shell spinners, but it has that lovely directional handle on the top that could also be used as a self-righting mechanism. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. This is an untested robot. We've not seen much from it. There's been a bit of a build log on the Team Deadlock Facebook page, but little else. This is a cool looking robot.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. It's, as you say, it's very rare we see these in any weight class, and especially beetle weights. And I don't know how to call it. I just want to see it. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Seems like a design which, if it works, it will really work.
Mm-hmm.
As a design, there are so many challenges involved in it, but this is a team who you look at and go, yeah, they're up to those challenges, 100%. The first event, we don't know what will happen, but if this thing comes out swinging, it's going to be a very entertaining game.
Yeah.
I think even if this is a robot which doesn't work at this event, it's certainly going to be a robot which works at the next event.
Yeah, this is the first time this robot has ever competed. It is going to be a trial by fire, I think. But if it does work, as you said, it's going to work really, really well. And I'm excited to see it in action. I really am. It's one of those unique robots that you just want to see working. And it's got three chances for it to get working as well, which is great. It's a benefit of this competition format.
Yeah, they say the weakness is it's untested, so hopefully throughout these fights it gets enough fights in to really shine a light on all of the weaknesses. Talking about shining light,
I don't know where you're going on to this one.
Slav King and the Lights.
Ah, okay, fair dues. So Slav King, yeah, is built by Team 6-4, Sam Elliott, friend of the channel, who last competed at Beetle weight scale with Couch Potato, the first public hanging since the 60s in the UK at least. This is a step up. I feel like they've seen Let the Good Times Roll, thought, yeah, that put me in the lights last time. Drum spinner, let's go. I hear the theming on this robot is going to be big. It is, of course, hard base, lots of squatting and looking dope while doing it. The logo is definitely not Adidas. No way. Can't get me on copyright grounds for that. Get lost. I'm excited to see it in action.
Absolutely no idea what to expect, except probably chaos.
They have got some other attachments for this as well, which is going to be interesting to see how they work out for them. It looks very good. It looks very completed, and I'm excited to see it in action.
That's worth mentioning, actually. You should expect to see a little more armour than we have in this photo. This was a bit of a work in progress. I believe the finishing touches have been happening this weekend, with any luck. We will see a lot more defence on there than we're currently seeing.
Yeah. Which just leaves us with the final, last but by no means least, is Rust in Pieces. They're back with their double lifters, / if they want to attach them together, go full Smee style, then they have that option again. It's an interesting robot. It's a cluster bot that has found another way of attacking things.
Desperately want to see the Rust in Smeeces sort of configuration happen here. Right, Ben, I cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, that's right. I was just going to say, like, the Rust in Pieces guys, they again, a good team. They know how to drive and control in fights. So again, they're one, I think, for me, one to watch out for. They did very well in Bugglebots, for example, and I think they could probably potentially improve on that.
Yeah, they are incredibly durable as well, these two robots. They can take a hit, they can go flying, they can come back down, and since they've added those lifters on as well, it's given them another method of attack and another way to beat their opponents. It's a robot that just keeps getting better with time, and it's one that I absolutely love and am once again, very excited to see. I'm excited to see them all, to be honest.
I think every robot in this heat is really unique. This is another one of those heats I just generally don't want to call. I think every robot has another robot it likes and a robot it doesn't like. That's great to see.
Yeah. The perfect game of rock, paper, scissors in this heat. It's going to be a good one for sure. And with that, we've been through every single heat. And that means that we are open to any questions. If you have them, if you want to talk more robots, then chuck them in the chat right now. Gentlemen, is there anything else competition-wise that we want to discuss? I feel like we've skipped over the prizes for this tournament. In that it's called the Beetle Belt, but some people may not know what that is.
Yeah, shall I?
Go for it,
So, Beetle Belt is an old competition where we used to go to live events, and it would be a competition during the break time at the live events where the audience could come and watch the Beetle weights fighting. The Beetle Belt would then be awarded to the winner of the competition, and they'd bring it back next competition. We are going to have trophies for first, second, and third as well, so they can keep it permanently. And then the idea is you'll be bringing the Beetle Belt back to future competitions for people to win in future. The Beetle Belt hasn't existed for a few years now, purely due to the live events. They changed in terms of how the insurance worked out. And there'll also be a prize for fourth place, having finished fourth far too many times myself.
Wonderful recognition for fourth place. And I believe there's also going to be some other judges' recognition awards alongside, which will be good. So it means that if you maybe don't succeed as much as possible, don't come first, second, third or fourth, there's still chances to take home some form of trophy, which is going to be good. And this Beetle Belt is a piece of Robot Wars history, I believe, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so I believe it's the spinner from the heavyweight Scar. I remember one of the most successful heavyweights in Robot Wars history, with I believe an undefeated record.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Didn't have any fights, but it's undefeated. So
again, it's just when you think of all the robots like Razor, Hit the Disc, Chaos 2, they all got defeated. So to have a robot just undefeated in Robot Wars is certainly a great trophy.
yeah.
So, probably just before we open the Q&A, if we just have a flash through all the heats as well quickly.
Yeah, just
Again.
to remind ourselves, so in Heat A, the Honey Badger, Let the Good Times Roll, Super Snappy and K2. Heat B, Maximum Ogre Drive, Scavenger, Cool Speedbot Echo and F.7. Heat C, Sprocket Raccoon, Rev 4, Night Fury and Tosser. Heat D, Pain Per View, Igor, Toxin and the Frenchiest Fries. Heat E, Attitude Adjuster, Revolution, Shark or Chuck or Chark or however you're pronouncing that, and Volta. Dooya, Exhilarator, Metis and Seventh Circle are in Heat F. Heat G features the Revengers, Bourbon, Crossblow 2 and Drizzle. And finally Heat H, Paradigm Spin, Grab Crab, Rust in Pieces and Slav King. So there are the heats. Questions coming in from the chat. This one I think is probably Garfi. Is Taco Bell Medway the finest establishment in the area? Yes or no?
I personally have a very limited palate, so I wouldn't know. The McDonald's is good.
You'll have to let us know, Joe. Let us know. There's going to be a fight in a Tesco car park, apparently. Where can I buy copious amounts of beer to get absolutely grab-crabbed midway through Saturday?
Yeah, we noticed on Facebook, unfortunately, BBB have found the beer tent.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a thing that exists. You've got to have tickets to go and visit it, though. Is it worth paying Rapture the money for their event to go and get beer? I think probably the answer is yes.
I'm asked how much time between fights. So we're going to be running sessions at 11, 1 and 3, and each session will run for 2 hours. You'll have one fight per session, although when it comes to whiteboards you can obviously chuck in as many times as you want. That means that on Saturday will be the heats and on the Sunday will be the knockouts. You'll have a fight roughly every 2 hours. The only exception being the final, which will be about an hour and a half apart.
Yeah, so you'll have plenty of time to rebuild things. Joe's not coming to Medway anymore. He's going to Andover. What a shame. Are the heats 4-way melees or head-to-heads within the heats? They're head-to-heads within the heats, so it's round-robin format. Do we have predictions for the end? Don't ask us that, Oliver. Don't ask us that. I don't want to answer that.
We discussed it, and there's far too many heats where we predicted that more than 2 people would go through.
Ben's not allowed an opinion because he's a judge, so that's our final answer on that one.
Yeah.
But probably Dwayne Nibley for me. Asking about arrival, where do we go, and all that goodness. I believe, Garthy, there is an email to come.
Yeah, so on the Thursday, I'll be sending out an email. The problem at the moment is they haven't set up the event, so it's very hard to tell people where to go because it doesn't look like what it's going to look like on the day. On a Thursday, I'll send an email out. A lot of people come in for the Friday, I believe. We can do tech checks on the Friday as well if you're there. Once everything's set up in terms of all the crowd control they're putting up and all the various barriers, because it's an open exhibit most of the time and people work there and all that. Once all the barriers up, I'll be able to actually show people pictures of what it actually looks like and as such where to go from that.
Yeah. Milo Davies asks, yo, what's your favourite colour? Mine's red, Garthy.
Red as well.
Ryan?
We just answer pink.
Pink. It's obviously pink. Everyone knows
there
it's
we go.
pink.
And Ben?
Yellow or gold?
Sure thing. Are there any Beetle weights you're surprised by their absence? Yes, Dwayne Nibley, I believe he forgot to sign up. Any that you chaps were expecting to see but aren't there?
Honestly, in COVID times, I mean, it's kind of understandable that people won't be there. It's one of those things where let's do this event, let's make it successful, let's make people aware that we can do this, and hopefully the next event that comes, which I believe will be the Bristol Builders event in August, hopefully everyone wants to come to that event, then there'll be no one missing.
Yeah. That's a very fair statement. Joe's going to send us a review for Taco Bell. Craig is going to take the only toilet pass to go get beer. Sure, as long as you bring back beer for everybody. Who are the judges? Which is most susceptible to bribes? Ben, who are the judges?
So judges are Tim Rackers, myself, and Dave Griffin.
There we go. So interesting and very renowned judging team, I think. All of you have previous experience of either judging or being involved in making decisions for events, and yeah.
I just want to say as well, my PayPal is available if you're going to do bribes.
So the answer is Ben is the most susceptible.
The official answer is we do take bribes, but they won't affect the draw.
No.
If you want to send money, please do.
Oliver says, answer you coward. I did. I said Dwayne Nibley. Do we have predictions for the event? The event will be a Beetleweight event. Any predictions from you three?
I think Drizzle's going to be in the top 4.
Ooh, that's a prediction and a half.
I think the big problem for me is that I think there's about 8 robots that are going to be in the top 4. Do ya? Maybe for the championship, but...
No.
Prediction, as cheesy as this is that we're going to get a few more people into this sport. This is a public event. We're going to be making lots of noise, hopefully. Yeah. Thank you, Night Fury. Thank you very much. I'm anticipating some good crowds for some of our big fights.
What we've been told is that if there's nothing gaming competition going on the main stage, they're going to stream us on the main stage, and if that's the case, we'll end up on Sky, which is very exciting. So we might have a wider audience than we thought we could ever have hoped or imagined. It's going to be very cool indeed. John M. Denny is going on holiday. Have a lovely time. Do I have teeth for the frog? I'm confused. Are there any rules in place between swapping configs? I.e., could two people infinitely swap configs? What if two people keep swapping to race each other for all time until the heat death of the universe? That's from Tom.
The rule will be that due to COVID, mostly more than anything, is that once you leave the pit table, you cannot take additional things to swap over. So once you're on the ready to fight table, you are ready to fight. You are not repairing anything, you're not installing anything, you're not swapping anything. Which means that if you want, you can take your robot under a blanket to the ready to fight table and then just reveal with a dash what you've got, and then that's it. You can't go back. Obviously, then robots need to go over when they're called. If you want to, hide it under a blanket, that's fair game. But
get in their heads. Mr. Shakespeare asks, can matches be settled in the Nerf arena? I would say probably not, but vengeance battles surely can.
we could make that what happens if people get a tie, maybe.
Important question, why is Tweedy such a stud? Scientists don't know. They can't...
Is it nature? Is it nurture? We'll never know.
Looking at Craig's comment, can we put both Gareths inside the box to fight for the Gareth name? Well, actually, I'm Gareth A. I came first, and that's why I'm Gareth A. And then we got Gareth B. He came second, so that's why he's Gareth B. So we've kind of settled it already.
Can you please give me an F, Jevon, for the unfortunate passing of Yeetus and Retreaters, haha, yeah man, Chad, the Antweight World Series 59 World Championship. F. I think I've fulfilled that. Can you share each...
Do you mind me...
Oh, go on, Ryan.
I think you're actually just about to address the same question I was. I was going to say, there have been a couple of questions about fight order. Which I guess Ben might be the man to talk about.
So, with Rampage as a whole, fight orders are very flexible. So, if effectively you need some more time for repairs and stuff, I'm sure that there can be leniency for that. So, the system's designed such a way that we can reorder your fight just to give you a bit of more time.
I think what they mean is within their heat. So, for Heat A, who's going to be fighting each other first? The reason we didn't reveal that is just in case the randomization doesn't randomize it correctly.
Yeah, we'll go in and fix that.
In Ben, do you want me to reveal the order we've got at the moment, or?
Well, touchwood, I think it's generated properly. I think it's probably something we take outside the stream and then we can address.
You'll be able to check out.
Will be a link provided on social media, and competitors will get a text, SMS message, and an email with the link on literally as soon as the stream has ended, just so you've got it as reference for you.
Craig Croucher asks, can you explain the giant covalent structure of graphene to my year 10s tomorrow over MS Teams? Haha, teachers, right?
Why are you doing that on Sunday? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, don't do it on Sunday.
Though, Polydrons or Mollymods, they're great resources.
Oliver asks, are ants animals? Of course not. Felix asks, have you ever had a dream that you had your you could, you'll do, you want, you could do so, you'll do, you could, you want them to do you so much you could do anything. All the damn time. Can I get a statement on Matt Hancock resignation?
I've literally just found this out.
Not I.
Have been great. I think that's a statement I would like to make.
When will Beetle events be somewhere I can actually travel to? You don't have to travel to this one. It's going to be broadcast on the World of Woodrow YouTube channel both days. Make sure you check out the streams. Haha, plug, thanks. Is it true that the driver of Dooya has no idea what he's doing? Yes, it's also true that the builder of Dooya has no idea what he's doing. How are you planning on ensuring Tweedy's extensive fan base socially distance while watching him fight? Barriers. Just and private security. I think he's arranging, isn't he? I'm going to ask Ryan. You can cook, right?
But don't.
Rosemary or oregano?
Depends what it's with.
Craig just wants to know.
Rosemary for my red meats. Oregano. I'm not sure I've ever used it.
What channel on Sky, Garfi, was it?
It says channel 357, but
I'm going to clarify that, but it might be that. I'm not too sure.
yeah. I haven't received it is going to be, but I'll ask them when we go there.
How many robots will do the thing? All of them? Can I stay at the pit table so long that Milo forfeits the fight? I think that means that you're not ready for the fight, and therefore you forfeit. But I don't know. I'd have to ask the judges that. And seeing as we've only got one of three, I can't do that right now. Can we get Mingo as a house robot? Ask Dave Weston if his Irina will take it. I'm down. Can I take the fights outside? That's where the Nerf battles are. Can you provide a regulation blanket? Possibly. See what I can do. Are the heats random? Of course. What are we using for the random generator? That's a good question. What did we use for the random generator, lads?
We used Ryan's football thing.
So when we did the draw itself, we did do an FA Cup style draw online. I can't speak for their randomization process, but I feel like it's probably, you know, adequate for our needs. That's the best way I can put it. I believe, and Ben will correct me if I'm wrong, at the position they came out in the draw is what is influencing the fight order. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, so I think the results we got compiled back, we then we drew the fights on Rampage in the order that they came out in. Makes sense.
The chat's picked oregano, or oregano if you're pronouncing it wrong. Have we got the facilities for containing Tweedy? Put him in the arena and lock the door?
People have said about security, so there will be obviously a lot. A serious point, there will be security at the event.
Yeah.
The police is going to be at the event, for example. The military are on the stand right next to us. So,
which one is the heat of death? All of them. How is the draw? Doing fine. Why is the draw? Robots. Do androids dream of electric sheep? You'd have to ask a scientist.
I think we seem to have gotten through most of the things that
I've
people want
reached
to
the
ask.
bottom and there's no more questions, so I'm going to call it there. Thank you all so much for watching this. Be sure to check out the stream next week. First fights, what time are they, Garfi?
So 11, 1 and 3 for each of the heats.
Yeah, and we will start the stream a little bit earlier than that, just to get everyone in, have a little chat, and then the fights will start, because we don't want to start right as the fights are starting. That'd be dumb.
Show people testing.
Yeah. So we will see you hopefully next weekend for lots of Beetleweight fighting fun down in Medway. Thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do give it a like, do subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit the notification bell if you want to keep up to date with everything that's going on. Hated that. That's all. We shall see you next weekend for Robot Fun in Medway. See you all later. Say bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.